She locked herself in the car, crying in a parking lot, and then hit post.
Yo, honestly, I'm not the type to post a video of me crying or something like that. At least I try not to be.
I mean, girl, what was the reason? Stephanie Jenkins, aka Resilient Jenkins, just went on another full crash out. This time, she says it's over family struggles to afford food. Now, empathy is one thing, but when it comes to someone who just last month ranted about losing food stamps while refusing to work, the irony is doing laps. We're not talking about a mom on the edge begging for survival. We are talking about someone who has monetized every meltdown and turned every breakdown into content. This isn't just a tearful post, it's a performance. Let's get into the latest meltdown, the missing logic, the contradictions, and why this crying post from the parking lot might be the fakest one yet, or at least the most tone deaf. Stephanie Jenkins, aka Resilient Jenkins, is a TikTok mom known for chaotic lives, tearful confessions, and endless controversy. She currently lives in a motel turned shelter with her 5 kids and posts almost daily about her struggles. She claims she's homeless due to credit score issues, not financial hardship. She's openly admitted to using food stamps and government aid while also complaining when those benefits were reduced. This time, she posted a video of herself crying inside her car after witnessing a long line at a mobile food pantry. She claimed to be deeply affected by the sight of low-income families waiting for assistance. But here's a contradiction. She posted herself crying before, despite saying she never does that sort of thing. Here's the problem we unpacking. Was this real compassion or a classic Stephanie style rage bait moment carefully designed to go viral? Let's break it down step by step. And I mean, let's actually break this all the way down like we're sitting together gossiping over a chai latte, because what Stephanie posted had me blinking at the screen like, is this real life or a performance piece? So, picture this. Stephanie uploads a new video to Facebook. She's in her car, face red, eyes puffy, sobbing so hard she can barely form a sentence. She's alone. It's dramatic. It's filmed from just the right angle. And the caption? Oh, it sets the mood. I came to look at their thrift store for anything, but this caught me off guard in a whole different way.
Stephanie Jenkins crying in the car because she was going to the food pantry, wanting to go ahead and get some freebies. Like, she likes to get freebies all the time, even though she's making money. Yeah. Then she's crying because other people are actually in line needing grocery assistance during this hard time. I'm not so upset at the fact that she's crying and making it a spectacle, but she's always like, "Ah, bro, no cap, skippity toilet, yeah, Riz, yeah, cap, no man, bro." She speaks like a 12-year-old. And it just irks my soul when she speaks. You are a mom. Try to show some compassion. Try to show some decorum. Why are you speaking like you're in middle school trying to fit in? I really don't think that her vocabulary is high at all. And before people are like, "You're a bully," I'm just making an observation. Okay, she puts it out there. I pick it up.
Right away, you know she's setting up for something deeper. Maybe even noble. She says she doesn't normally post herself crying. Girl, that is the first red flag. Because we also the last crying session she posted when Drew left for an afternoon. She sobbed into the camera like it was a soap opera monologue. So when she claims she doesn't do this, please, that memory is shorter than her fuse. Anyway, in this new emotional PSA, she says she had just stopped by a church-run thrift store. Just browsing. But then she looked up and saw about 60 cars lined up at the adjacent mobile food pantry. That's when she says it hit her like a brick that families Real people were out here in broad daylight, waiting in long lines just to eat. She says it broke her heart.
Yo, honestly, I'm not the type to like post a video of me crying or something like that. At least I try not to be. But I just got to this church driven like community center, clothing, thrift store, food pantry. Yo, there's like 60 cars lined up for this mobile food pantry. And it just kind of broke my heart because there's already such a need for food assistance in lower income families. And to just strip what they had for assistance is fucking just so... You lack humanness, bro. You're such a fucking rotten human. And I'm not even crying about myself because we'll figure it out. And I feel fucking blessed that we're in a position where we can. But it was literally us less than a fucking year and a half ago. And all these families, bro. This fucking country. I have to hope and pray that, like, the worse that it gets, our country will become just as united, the civilians, as other countries manage to do, because that's the only way we're all gonna survive this shit. That's the only reason why people do survive in their fucking war zones is because they unite as the civilians. And we all have our fingers up to each other fucking constantly. For what? Gather your shit, y'all. We need each other.
And listen, that part, I get it. It's hard not to feel something when you see that many people visibly struggling. But then she pivots, and suddenly it's not about her. No. Stephanie says she wasn't crying for herself. She was crying for them, for the families, for the kids, for the moms and dads doing what they can.
So Stephanie posted a video crying, crocodile tears, about losing assistance and going to the church and the food drive because food is so scarce as is, and how could they be doing that to us and comparing it to like a war zone or something. You cannot sit here and tell me that she has empathy for other human beings and not her own children, that she is forced to be homeless. There is no way you're not making money on this app. I have one video with 20,000 views and I made $9. There's no way you're not making a dime off of all of your social medias. You make enough to help those people and have a home for your kid. There's no way you don't. And yeah, I'm gonna keep talking about this because apparently I'm gonna be monetized until the end of the month, or until they tell me I'm not. So there's a potential I can potentially get out of my crappy situation by talking about her crappy situation. Wouldn't that be kind of funny, guys? So I guess if you want to support a mom who's actually trying to do better for her kids, it just blows my mind that you're gonna sit there and try to gain the sympathy. You want the sympathy attention, but you don't feel that for your children. Also, we know she's crying because this will severely dip into her rug money if she has to start paying for groceries.
While she sniffles and whizzes through the video, she starts talking about how heartbreaking and unacceptable it is. She urges her followers to pray for these families. She talks about how the country is falling apart. She calls on civilians to unite. She says we need to support each other like other countries do. You can tell she's going for that inspiration. But the delivery? Let's just say it felt more like content than compassion. And then, of course, she has to blame someone. So she curses out the government, says society is failing low-income families. According to her, we spend too much time pointing fingers and not enough time lifting each other up. And look, she's not entirely wrong. But it's hard to take the message seriously when it's coming from someone who built her platform off crying into the camera while refusing to help herself. Like, you want to talk about systems failing? Let's also talk about people who refuse to do their part. Because here's the part that doesn't get posted in the Crying Car confessional. Stephanie is still living in a motel shelter funded by Housing Aid. She says she's blessed now, but sis, you're in a shelter. You're not paying rent. You're collecting benefits that people with real needs are waiting months to access. She earns from social media, TikTok, Facebook, lives, subscriptions. She has income.
Stephanie, the crocodile tears, be so fucking for real. Nobody cares. Wasn't it like 2 days ago when you were all over Drew's live talking about, I don't care, and I'm so funny. I think it's funny that we spend all these money on all this grass, and oh, I don't care, kiki, haha. And now you want to do with the crocodile tears and the, oh, I'm a part of the rest of the population who's getting their food stamps cut off. Newsflash, you have money, boo. The rest of the people have a real reason to cry. You have income. You just choose to spend it on yourself and your man and not your kids. I mean, it really is ironic because when it was the first of the month and you were doing your food haul, remember how you were showing off that really long ass receipt? And I let me quote you, not 100% word for word, but you were talking about how, oh, it was so cool seeing how the numbers, it was just so exhilarating to see those numbers come down and to see all those discounts and all that money just disappear. And then you were like, oh yeah, and yeah, I did use food stamps. And you know what? You should be happy I did, because at least it's better than using it for Israel, even though you're exactly the same. I mean, which is it? Because you couldn't have thought that you were like untouchable, right? You couldn't have thought that this was gonna last forever. You truly had no fucking other plan. Bet you wish you had that $300 that you've been spending on grass now, huh? But I'm sure that you'll just go and suck up all the resources that true families in need actually need and deserve, because you're all about you and your wants. And you know that you will never give up the high life as long as it means that you can get money from somebody else.
But instead of securing stable housing or applying for a job, she turns her situation into content. Every hardship is an upload. Every struggle is a storyline. So this emotional moment in the parking lot, it didn't feel like grief. It felt like brand positioning. Another chapter in the Resilient Jenkins storyline. And this one, the theme was empathy. But spoiler alert, empathy without action is just marketing. But here's where things get hard to digest. Stephanie then mentions that she's blessed to be in a better place now. But what she fails to mention is that her better place is still a motel shelter funded by housing assistance. A space that could have gone to another family that's genuinely on the brink. And when she claims to have left poverty behind, she continues to use and defend systems designed for people in worse circumstances. To top it off, she also earns money from TikTok, Facebook, and various social media platforms. Instead of using that money to secure better housing or get a job, she opts to stay in the cycle of public crisis and content creation. So this teary-eye moment in the parking lot, it felt less like grief and more like a brand strategy. Here's the exact moment the story flips. Stephanie says she was overwhelmed with emotion for the families waiting for food. She paints herself as this deeply compassionate witness to injustice. But at no point in the video does she mention doing anything for the people she was crying about. She didn't even distribute food. She didn't offer money or groceries to a single person in line. She didn't roll down her window to hand someone a sandwich or even a bottle of water. This was a fully contained breakdown behind closed doors inside a running vehicle for the internet to see. And we've seen this before. Stephanie has a habit of calling herself a voice for the voiceless, but never an action taker. She claimed she once bought a dog bed for her baby instead of a crib, not because she had to, but as rage bait. Her words. In her caption, she wrote, "You can scroll past or unfollow, but I will continue to use my platform as a voice for the people at the bottom." But that's just it. She's a voice, not a hand, not a bridge, not a giver, not a helper, just a chronic narrator of struggles, both her own and others. So in plain English, Stephanie cried for the cameras, declared herself blessed, and drove off without lifting a single finger to help anyone. So what does this video really mean? Let's break it down the way I would if I were sitting across from you, cup of coffee in hand, because, baby, this part had me pausing the video like, wait, what did I just watch? Maybe, just maybe, Stephanie really did feel something real. I mean, we all have those moments where we see something sad and it hits different. Maybe the line of cars outside that pantry made her feel the weight of it all. Maybe it triggered a memory or a fear, and the tears started flowing before she could stop them. Maybe she thought sharing that moment would help other people feel seen. That's all very possible. But here's the thing, empathy without action? It's like crying during a movie and then forget it the second the credits roll. She didn't hand out snacks. She didn't start a GoFundMe. Didn't offer to drive anyone home. So if she was moved, it was a very private kind of heartbreak, and she turned it public without doing anything real. And that's where this theory starts falling apart. This one? This one has receipts. Stephanie has literally admitted in the past to doing this just to trigger the algorithm. Like buying a dog bed instead of a crib for a baby, just to get the comments going. So, is it really that hard to believe that she saw the line of cars and thought, perfect, I can cry, talk about injustice, throw in a few I am blessed quotes, and boom, engagement. Y'all, emotional content sells, and she knows it. Crying while talking about food insecurity? That's viral ready content, whether or not she meant for it to be. And when you add in her track record, it's kind of hard to give her the benefit of the doubt. Now, this one feels like the kind of thing you do when you're spiraling. Let's be real. Stephanie has a lot going on right now. Desiree just raised 10 grand to fight for custody. Drew's child support reportedly went up. The internet has been dragging her on every platform. So maybe this wasn't about the pantry line at all. Maybe it was about shifting the narrative. If she shows herself crying for others, maybe people will stop talking about how she treats her own kids. Maybe they'll forget about the dog bed, or the motel shelter, or the endless contradictions. A public meltdown can be a great way to distract from a private mess, and no one knows that better than Stephanie. Each theory leads back to the same uncomfortable truth. There is no follow through, no groceries handed out, no action plan, no initiative. Whether this was heartfelt or a hustle, the end result is the same. Nothing changed for the families in those cars, and nothing changed about the way she operates. Let's zoom out and look at what happened next. The video exploded in engagement. Comments flooded in. Some people offered words of comfort, others called her out. The conversation quickly turned into a war zone of opinions. But here's what makes this especially hard to watch: the contradictions. Stephanie says she has money, yet she still uses food stamps and cries when the amounts get cut. She says she's in a better place, but she still lives in a shelter, still cries on camera, still rage baits. She says she's an advocate, but she won't even buy basic clothes for her kids. She once admitted it took her a year to buy a water gun and 2 years to afford urban air passes. And let's not forget, this is the same woman who proudly spends $8 per day on gardening. But can't replace worn out clothes for her children? That's not budgeting. That's selfishness disguised as struggle. She criticizes the government for not helping low-income families. Meanwhile, she's one of the people clogging the system, taking up resources she doesn't absolutely need, all while refusing to seek employment despite being physically capable and socially influential. So again, we're back at square one, crying for the poor while actively contributing to the very issue she claims to hate. Bottom line, this video didn't feel like a moment of empathy. It felt like a moment of optics. Stephanie Jenkins continues to blur the line between advocacy and exploitation. She positions herself as a voice of the unheard, yet contributes nothing but noise. My verdict? If she truly wanted to help, she would use her platform to act, not just emote. But as it stands, she chose to sob behind a windshield, curse at the system, and call it compassion. So, what do you think? Was this empathy, a deflection, or just another attention stand in the long list of them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want the next chapter in the Jenkins saga, hit that like and subscribe.